I will explain remainders by using place value understanding and models. So for the last two lessons, we've been talking about dividing using long division. We've been talking about what happens when you have a remainder in the tens place and what happens when you have a remainder in the ones place. And today we're just going to talk about what happens when you get remainders and what that looks like when you divide something in real life, what happens with those remainders. In your math journal, I want you to go ahead and write today's date, and I want you to write Lesson 19, Explaining Remainders. We are only going to put one problem in our math journal today, then we're going to get started right on the problem set. Okay, so our first problem today, I want you to write in your math journal 41 divided by 3, and I want you to go ahead and draw a place value chart. That's going to be our model whenever we're working with division. We've been using place value charts to model instead of tape diagrams. So I want you to go ahead and draw you a place value chart, and I want you to show 41 in place value disk, and then I want you to show me what it looks like to divide that by 3. So you're going to have tens and ones, and you're going to have 4 tens, 3 ones. So 40, oh, I checked that, it should just be 41. Okay, so 41 divided by 3, I got ahead of myself, didn't I? Now, because it's divided by 3, that means I'm going to put these into 3 groups. So 1, 2, 3. And it's always important to go back and count. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, I want you to go ahead and distribute the tens and see what happens. Okay? You should have ended up with this. You should have had 1 10 in each group with a remainder in the tens place. So if you remember before, you would never just say, okay, I took 41 divided by 3, and I've got a remainder of 11, 1 10 and 1 ones. That wouldn't make sense, especially if this was $41 and I was dividing that $41 among 3 friends. I wouldn't say, well, I got $11 left over. That's my remainder. Y'all can't have that. I wouldn't do that, right? I would take the 10 and I would trade it in, or I would decompose it for 10 ones. I want you to go ahead and do that too. So let's decompose that into 10 ones. So now instead of 10 ones, I have 11. Now I want you to distribute your 11 ones. Okay, so it looks like this, and we distribute the 11 ones. So now, instead of having a remainder of 11, we have a remainder of 2. And if I did have $2 left over and I was sharing it with 3 friends, I wouldn't be able to do anything with those dollars unless I cashed it in for coins, and then I could keep on distributing it. But for this purpose, let's just pretend that you could not do anything with those $1 bills, so that would be your remainder. Okay, so let's talk about what is the quotient and the remainder when you have 41 divided by 3. Well, I have 1 10 and 3 ones in each group, so that means that my quotient is 13, remainder 2. And then how could we check this problem to see that we divide it correctly? I want you to write down the problem that we would use to check, and then I want you to see if you have the same problem I did. Did you say 13 times 3? And then we'd have to add the remainder of 2. So let's try that. So let's do 13 times 3, and let's just make sure that we did this correctly, because I make mistakes all the time. All right, so this would be 9 and 3, 39. Then I have to add my remainder of 2, and I do get 41. So that means that we did divide this correctly. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get to our problem set today. And remember, we're talking about remainders. So I want you to write your name at the top, and let's take a look at question number 1. When you divide 94 by 3, there's a remainder of 1. Model this problem with number disk. In the number disk model, how did you show the remainder? I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, but I want you to show me a place value chart with 94 place value disk, and go ahead and at least try to distribute the tens. And if you know how to go ahead and trade in if you have any remainders, you can go ahead and do that too. All right? After you get your place value chart drawn, you can check back in with me. Okay, so I've got my place value chart, and I cheated just a little bit. I went ahead and used my smart software so it would look a little bit neater, because when I try to do it with a pen, it always looks like a mess. But you can see I have 94, and then I have 1, 2, 3, because I'm dividing it by 3. So now I'm ready to distribute the ones, or the tens, and you can see that these actually were already in groups of 3. You can see that I have 3, 3, and 3, so I had no remainder in the tens place. And then I can just go ahead and, I sure want to stay together. All right, now I need to distribute the ones. I guess I'll just have to do that with my pen. All right, so take my ones, and I'm going to distribute them. 1, 2, 3. and I have a remainder of 1. So it said, model this problem with number disk. That's what it just said. In this number disk, how did you show the remainder? So I only had a remainder in the ones place. So when it says, how did you show a remainder, I'm going to type this because I can type a little faster than I can write. I'm going to say, I showed my remainder by circling the ones that were left over after I distributed all that. Okay, so let's talk about what that means. Obviously, when I said I showed my remainder by circling the ones, you understand that. But then I said, this was the one that was left over after I distributed these. I couldn't distribute that one because I didn't have enough to give to all the other groups. Okay, so I believe that we've answered that question. Okay, let's move on to problem number 2. It says that 94 divided by 3 is 30 with the remainder of 4. He reasons it is correct because 3 times 30 plus 4 equals 94. What mistake has Cayman made? Explain how he can correct his work. Okay, so I'm looking here and I'm thinking, well, I don't know why he would think that he had a remainder. Oh, I do see. So if I go back and let's look at our, this is the same problem that we just did. So let's go back and think about this. What do you think Cayman did if he said he had a remainder of 4, just 4 ones? It looks like he did not distribute his ones. It looks like he just left all the ones here and said that those are remainders instead of dividing the ones. He just divided the tens and said that the ones were a remainder. And whenever he checked it, it did work out correctly because it is the same number of discs, but it still isn't the same problem. Okay, so let's go back and it says, what mistake has Cayman made? And the mistake that Cayman made is he did not distribute. He can correct work by putting, or let's say, instead of putting, let's say by, yeah, I wouldn't say putting, by putting a 1 in each group, then he will have 1 left over, which is what we did. Right. The number disk model is showing 72 divided by 3. Complete the model. Explain what happens to the 110 that is remaining in the tens column. See if you can do this by yourself. You can see that they've distributed, that they already had 72, 2, 4, 6, 7, 72, and they're dividing it by 3. They've already distributed all the tens they can, and they have a remainder of 1. See if you can go ahead and finish this model. Pause the video and see if you can, and then come back and check with me and see if you did the same way I did. All right, so I'm going to take this 1 remainder, and I'm going to distribute it to the ones. So I'm going to add 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now instead of 10 ones, I have 12. So I'm going to just do it like this. I'm going to go ahead and take groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3, and then I have 3 left over. So that means that I can put 1 in each group. It's just a little shortcut. So I finished the model. Now it says explain what happens to the 110 that is remaining in the tens column. So let's just explain that. All we have to do is just say exactly what we did. Okay? The remaining 10, it's distributed in the ones column. I'll fix this in a minute so it's not all over the place like that. The remaining 10 gets distributed in the ones column and becomes 10 ones. Those 10 ones combine with the 2 ones that are already there, and all 12 get distributed. Okay, let me fix this so it's not all over my model. How about that? Okay, so let's go back and reread that, make sure it makes sense. The remaining 10 gets distributed in the ones column and becomes 10 ones. Those 10 ones combine with the 2 ones that are already there, and all 12 get distributed. Okay, that's pretty much what we did. All right, let's take a look at number 4. Two friends share $56. They have five $10 bills and $6 bills. Draw a picture to show how the bills will be shared. Will they have to make change at any stage? So let's go ahead and let's draw a place value chart. This would be our model. If this was an RDWW problem, which it is, when we do the draw, we wouldn't do a tape diagram. We would do a place value chart. That is our model. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to use my pen this time. And we're going to do tens and ones. And how many friends are they sharing this with? Just 2. Okay. So I've got 56. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones. And I've only got to share this with 2 friends. So that means my model doesn't have to be too big. All right. So here's their $10 bills. You get one. You get one. You get one. You get one. Now we have a remainder right here. So if these are $10 bills, this is the point to where I would have to make change, right? I couldn't take this $10 bill and just rip it into 10 parts. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't have any value after I did that. I would have to go see if someone could give me 10 ones for that $10 bill. So now I'm going to move that to the ones place. So I'm going to add 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now here's where some kids get confused. They don't want to add 10, they want there to be 10 altogether. But if you notice, there's actually 16 ones because there were already 6 there and I added 10 more. So it's really important that you don't just add enough so that it equals 10, because if you do, you will not have the right answer. You have to add 10 to what's already there. So I know 16 divided by 2 is 8, so I'm just going to go ahead and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you didn't know 16 was divided by 2, you could always just mark it out as you go until you distribute them all. That would give you the exact same answer. Okay, so it says, draw a picture to show how the bills will be shared. Will they have to make change at any stage? And we did have to make change at one stage. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, when there was a 10 remaining, a friend would have to change the $10 bill for 10 $1 bill. Okay, that would be the only way that you could share them evenly. Okay? All right, now it says explain how they share the money evenly. Okay? So I will say after making change for the $10 bill, they share the 16 $1 bills evenly. So each friend will have, I'm going to go back up here, they have 2 tens and 8 ones. Each friend will have $28. Lucky friends. Okay, moving right along. Imagine you are filming a video explaining the problem, oh, like I am. Explain the problem 45 divided by 3 to new 4th graders. Create a script to explain how you can keep dividing after getting a remainder of 10 in the first step. Oh, this kind of gives you an opportunity to see what it feels like to be me, to have to explain how to do this. So I think that the easiest way to do this would be to first of all, let's go ahead and let's make our tape diagram. And I'm going to cheat a little bit, make it look a little nicer so that you guys can read it. All right, so I'm going to make my columns here. So this would be tens and ones. So let's put tens here. I think it's important to go ahead and model this before you try to write a script. It makes it a lot easier for you to think about what you would say if this were a video. So let's go ahead and look at it, and then we can stop and think, okay, what would we say? All right, so this is tens, and I'm going to go back and put my 45 place value disc. I like to use the highlighter. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 45. And we're doing this, dividing this by 3. So I'm going to make 3 groups. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we're going to divide this. So let's just, first of all, let's work it out. And then we'll see how we could explain this to someone that was new to our class and hadn't had all the lessons that we've had. Okay, so first we would have to distribute the 10. So I've got 1, 2, Oh, I've got 2 10s left over. So I'd have to move these over to the ones place. So I'd have to add 20. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It kind of ran out of the box a little bit. I'd rather it run out of the box a little bit than get so smashed up that I can't count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I've got 25 ones. Okay, so it says create a script to explain how you can keep dividing after getting a remainder of 110. It says 110. See what I did? I did 55 instead of 45. That's why it's important to go back and read. I bet you're sitting there thinking, Miss Jennings, you messed it up. And you are right, I did. I gotta go back and fix it. All right, so how's that? Normally I would edit this part out of the video, but I think it's kind of important for you to see, hey, I messed up too. All right, so really we only have one remainder, 10, so that would be right here. So I went back and fixed my mistake. I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Okay, so create a script explaining how you can keep dividing after you get a remainder of 110 the first step. So it doesn't say that I have to explain this whole entire problem. It just says explain how you can keep dividing after getting a remainder of 10 in the first step. So I'm going to switch to type so that you can read it. All right, so I'm going to say, after distributing the 10s into 3 groups, there will be 110 remaining. That 10 should be traded. I'm going to use the word decomposed. It would be okay if you use traded. That 10 should be decomposed into 10 ones and added to the 5 ones that are already there. Now, distribute the 15 ones. And I don't have to keep going because it just says create a script to explain how you can keep dividing after getting a remainder of 110 in the first step. So that's all I have to do. So let's go back and read that, make sure it makes sense. After distributing the 10s into 3 groups, there will be 110 remaining. That 10 should be decomposed into 10 ones and added to the 5 ones that are already there. Now distribute the 15 ones. I could go ahead and finish this problem, but it doesn't say that I have to, so I'm not going to. All right, so I hope that this has helped you a little bit with remainders. Make sure that if you need to come back and rewatch this video to help you with remainders, come back and watch it. Look at your problem set if you get stuck at anything on the exit slip.